That was the crazy evening, but the most wonderful thing, the most wonderful part of the show is that the features first and Tom Roby's coming up, and it makes me so pleased. Sorry, I just think it's the most wonderful time of the show. Sorry about that. Because we've got a phenomenal, he's planned so much stuff for this stuff. I adore Tom Roby. He's got the funnest little things when he's pulling them off usually, but he's got a great show, so I think I want everybody to scream. I know it's just a few of us right now, but this is the beauty of having everything video recorded, because, you know, me and Coos with the NSA, we're going to record these things so that this feature in the open mic can become a podcast, and it'll be up on YouTube. So people who were stuck in traffic or had problems with the accent will be able to actually... Sorry. Well, and a lot of people have said, oh, I was out of town. It was really great to be able to get a hold of this. So, ladies and gentlemen, act like this house is about to burn down. Give it up for a great feature this evening from Tom Roby.
Thank you, Janet. And thank you all for coming out. Be having a feature at this institution is one of my most favorite things, if not the most favorite thing. And I have been putting together a kind of thematic presentation here. Last year it was kid poems. I put together all my kid poems, and and then for this feature I put together my poems on writing. Am I a little percussive here?
You're a little percussive. I don't know what's going on. Just lean back. Well, I don't know, but if we tilt it.
How about if
try it this way forward a little bit more?
Or either down or up. Oh, I think much
I'm
better.
over.
That's
I
better.
think
Are
that,
you loud enough?
yeah, that's
Awesome.
much better.
Awesome.
Yes, it is.
So I've done the life of the writer from inspiration to cremation, and we all, of course, in our writing program, we all have a difficulty with what I call the starter problem. Late at night, traffic lights blink, stop, and go. Blank pages wait and park until too late. What's not done is not done, as well we know. Late at night, traffic lights blink, stop, and go. To start a rondo now seems much too slow. It won't be great at any rate by 8. Late at night, traffic lights blink, stop, and go. Blank pages wait in park until too late. So once you get started, the next task is to find inspiration. But where to find inspiration? Whenever I'm beset by writer's block, I take refuge at one of the poem stores found in every town at the end of the line next to a foreclosed dollar store in the worst neighborhood. You must control your anxiety about detection by fellow poets who will gladly wreck your reputation for originality, especially since this is the way you yourself have derailed your rivals. Still, you need that poem to finish your book, cap a career-crucial performance, impress novices at a workshop, ask a hawker of poems on a shabby side street, buy a cheap, heartfelt, poorly spelled ballade with a secret map. There you will find the fabled first floor of a condemned tenement, dusty shelves, labyrinth of passages to your promised masterpiece. Watch out! It is easy to get lost. The Ancient of Days at the abacus will patiently explain to you the necessity of self-service. Since most of the clerks were laid off after paper replaced papyrus, you begin to sweat, lose your way amidst the maze of shelves, free verse all over, form poetry vanishing, villanelle before epic, a rat sniffs at a volume of chewed over sonnets. There's more. The Pantoum section has not been restocked in generations. Casualty of changing personnel at Poem Factories LLP, located offshore, where English dialect foreigners slave on manual typewriters, pennies per rhyme, and long benches and eye shades under harsh fluorescence. Their polyglot productions require rewrites, but at least you have something to work with. You are a wreck, but must furtively copy a faux Browning monologue by flashlight, update your account, exit by the back alley. Thank you. Now, of course, if the coin store doesn't work, you can always go and consult your muse, whoever she might be. I was working this poem about a high-rise. As I stand in the snow, my fingers freeze. I try to leave, but the poem chains me to a shovel, makes me clean out a gutter full of words without even minimum wage.
This is the one that was the problem.
Okay.
Sounds like a rock concert.
Sorry about that.
Okay, that's all right.
Good, yeah.
Okay, we hardly lost a word there. It was the gutter full of words that did it. Aha, all gone. It's like when you were a kid, count on some sandlot football with your friends. The poem keeps you after school, memorizing until dinner time. On a day for the country and apple picking, the poem insists I stay home to water her flowers. Once I asked her to wait in the park while I went for a drink with a friend. She just shrugged her shoulders. When I got back, she was gone. It took 2 weeks for me to find her again. Whatever I try to do, she's always in the way, insisting I read her meter, admire her hyperboles, stay up all night with our oxymorons. Just when I think I'm done, I'm ready to get back to life. Is the poem pleased? Does she come in a nightgown with champagne and caviar? Does she answer the phone? And does she come in a nightgown with champagne and caviar and the Pulitzer Prize? No, the witch, nothing but her smoky whisper in my ear. Try the next line, lover. Maybe it's there. Thank you.
I'm going to set this, the problem is the microphones and I can't turn it off, so I'm putting this one here and it should solve the problem. This is what's making all the noise. It's away from there and it should be fine.
Okay, no more noise?
I hope.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So, worldwide audience, you have heard this solution to the problem by our expert hostess, who is also a Jill of all trades.
Yeah,
You're
Now,
a Jill of all trades.
I didn't know it just dawned on
Ran up
me.
the hill.
so engagement with the muse also raises the problem that we tend to fall in love with our muses and our words, and so you have to regroup and start killing your darlings. The best lines of my poems often wind up in the computer trash, leaving me to reconfigure the rest into a working whole. Time and again I step on their crackling husks, dry mementos that lack fertility to seed new poems. Others hiss and claw at my ankles as I try to step over them on the way for a beer. Still others lie about hopelessly until they become dusty tangles of images swept under the sofa. My recycle bin becomes a whining kennel where elder lines with the best pedigrees refuse to be point broken, yet spawn new ones yapping to be taken home. Not that it's cruel to sack and toss them off the bridge. Rather, I dread that void in some far-off poem that will open beside a line who wants a brother or sister. Then my inadequate gestations will force me to seek adoption, since the perfect one who took rejection to heart fled to sell herself in a back alley to the New Yorker. I tried to talk them into joining up for one great poem, but they refused to play together. The gorgeous, unintelligible metaphor snivels, "If you understood me, you would take me to Hollywood." She slaps the groping graybeard, chanting, "I am all the answers, I, sage of all ages." Transcendental phrases float above the fray like cherry clouds in the sunset. Each corner hides confessional stanzas mumbling to themselves. Anti-war and anti-peace symbols clash, picketed the front lawn. If anyone has any use for my best lines, please take them off my hands. They're not doing me a bit of good, and I need to get on with my writing.
We keep hearing the mics, and I feel so terrible. I'm going to try this one. I have no idea. We're going to use this one, and we're going to get this guy out of the way. Let's see if this solves the problem for you.
Okay, problem Mike. Now, are you going to behave yourself?
That's much better.
Much better. So,
Much better.
Keep looking for a solution. So.
Okay.
Yay!
Yay.
So actually what happens then is you have to become a professional. You have to join various writing groups and exhibitors and venues for reading, which becomes the Salon de Refusé. That's from the Impressionists who established their salon because they were rejected by the official salon. The Salon de Janet, that is the best. At first, the poet demands advances by certified check. Rebuffed, he prefers bargains at $100 a poem, tries to negotiate deep discounts, payment plans. When turnarounds get longer, he introduces teaser.
I wish I could turn off the mic, and I don't think they still do.
Yeah. No, that's better.
I don't know how to turn off one mic, which we're switching. And where's my... Don't worry about it. Keep reading.
Okay. Let's see. If I stand away, does it? No.
Try standing away.
Okay, I'm standing away.
That's better.
That's better on the on the yawn.
Yeah.
Okay. So when turnarounds get longer, he introduces teaser rates. Swallowing his pride, he tenders free coupons for free verse. Includes a list of faux publications. Finally, offers to pay. Better journals steadfastly refuse. Lesser ones take his money, cease publication before his works go to press. Responses always...
Why don't you not use a microphone?
Yeah, just shut it.
Okay.
Just kidding, because you've got a nice voice, you don't need a microphone.
thank you.
And he's just
You
going
can
to.
use it, go ahead.
You want to try? I think he just came in. Is it fixable?
Try it now.
Try it now.
He says.
Okay,
You just adjusted it.
here I am.
You sure you don't want to
Now,
try?
I'm still... is it
Try
still
the
on audio?
microphone.
They're screaming to try the microphone. Yes.
Just
Try the
adjusted it.
They just he just came back and was able to adjust it. So how does that sound?
Oh, okay.
See if it works.
Are we
You're not
adjusted?
supposed to leave.
Are we wowing?
It's adjusted.
It's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay,
There.
great. Okay, so now
Thank you very
I'll
much.
start here again with Salon de Refusé, which got wowed out. At first, the poet demands advances by certified check. Rebuffed. He proffers bargains at $100 a poem, tries to negotiate deep discounts, payment plans. When turnarounds get longer, he introduces teaser rates. Swallowing his pride, he tenders free coupons for free verse, includes a list of faux publications, finally offers to pay. Better journals steadfastly refuse. Lesser ones take his money, cease publication before his works go to press. Responses always chant the same old dirge. We regret, but your submission does not meet our present need. He wallpapers his study with rejection notices, builds a library of how to publish books, teases out hints for success. He stands outside in the rain after readings by poets and prince. He self-publishes, tries to give his poems away. His flood of submissions gradually becomes a trickle, yet he never gives up hope that one day his want will match their need. During these decades, his poems actually improve through incessant reading, rereading, writing, rewriting, revising, and revisioning. After his death of a broken heart, his daughter recites at the wake. The dozen attendees, students, old friends, and barmaids, are impressed. They ask for copies to study the dark irony of his quirky humor, send them off to the best journals, some under their own names. All receive rejections with counsel to keep on writing. Okay, this is for Dan Weinberg, who is a fan of Villanelle's. And the title of this is Less is More, More or Less, which I will refer to later on in one of my favorite tombstone epitaphs. To keep my poems to one-page max, I must resize and clip my font, or spot more ways to dodge the axe. I could write less if I'd relax, use shorter forms than are my wont, to come out less than one-page max. Free to submit email or fax, free from the critic's cutting taunt. Deceived, he thinks, to dodge the axe. But if I don't accept these clacks, I have to reckon how to vaunt, to keep my poem to one-page max by pitching points, and not be lax, ever more slender, so I flaunt a winning way to dodge the axe of judges with their snide of tacks. Instead, they find romant can daunt by maximizing one-page max. I get my plaque and dodge the axe. Thank you. It's always the rules, and the font and how you submit. Meanwhile, of course, you have to support yourself, which involves writing for canapes. Thurston grew thin and brittle, no longer able to hover, elbow his rivals away from the hors d'oeuvres. Instead, he lingered hopefully in an overstuffed chair for dainty bits, barely enough to sustain a beetle on a smallish plate, fetched for him by young lady poets with svelte figures and large appetites for encouragement, whose fathers had urged them to become secretaries. We called him the cleanup man. He never missed a writer's reception or awards banquet where he deftly reduced the food table to a wasteland, vanished like a giant chipmunk with bulging cheeks and pockets. In his lonely room, propped up by 4 pillows on his Murphy bed, he worked on 5 poems side by side, munched stale crackers with moldy cheese left over from his last triumph, rummaged trade invitations to the next small press award or writer's benefit, whose notices he pasted on the wall with rancid peanut butter. Thurston's work had its interest in its audience. Well-crafted and predictable poems about winning 0 to 60 mile-per-hour motorized wheelchair weight races down the corridors of the Indy 500 nursing home, or fights to the death with tentacle respirators, but nothing of the poetry that bespoke a lightly sauced lobster Newburgh or a hearty eggs Benedict, because his stomach would howl. It was like trying to chew recipes. Still, his poem got him into the worst and the best receptions in the city. From the upscale Congregation of Poetry magazine to the Jiffy Peanut Butter Gallo Jug Wine Buffet, for donors to the latest desktop collector's edition, Friends of the Poet, Volume 1, the one and only. It was not that he lacked discrimination, it was just that he had to eat. Social Security barely covered his rent, and Thurston was serious when he joked that he was the only one of us who actually made a living off his poetry. And so he accepted the final invitation, seated in an overstuffed wing chair with a shriveled grin, teeth clenched in a shrimp scampi, and when the proofreader, who moonlighted as a mortician, couldn't pry the cheese ball loose from his grip, we gave up and buried Thurston with it. But for a year after, no one had any appetite for canapes. And now we get to now. On the perils of performing poetry, which was written just after the mic issues here. We go this way. I am reading poetry above sextuple and syncopated Bulgarian rhythms from the bar radio, and when they get lucky, they are in sync with my rhymes. I hurl my inebriated meters at the drunken wedding party that takes the table next to the mic, and we both ignore the cacophony. I read poetry in bars next to the L and drowned it out since I have the better poem. I read and endure the rousing critiques of hosts who shove me off the stage, not here, in mid-sentence because they think my prose has gone on too long. I read poetry above the fan, against the espresso machine, over the crashes of the empties the barista hurls into the trash. I read poetry to the crickets in the graveyard and they sing it back to me, polypoetically. I read poetry in the rain on Rush Street and sell it for a song. I sing my song into the wow and the wong of the mic, but the sweet spot is always on the other side. And when my thoughts run counterpoint to my lines, the audience can't hear them, even though they're the best part of the poem. I read until dawn breaks so loud I can no longer hear myself read, and everybody sings, "So long, it's been good to know you." I read over side chat of fellow poets, some of it critical of me. I read above their scribbles as they ignore me to focus on writing what they are about to read. I am reading poetry everywhere, and my only question is, who's listening? Thank you. Okay, we're going around the bar turn here, and as we write, we must not lose sight of the gold. because we are always courting success. Don't you feel uneasy about her, that she's too much or not enough, lasts too long like sex without love, or won't last long enough, sets you up to let you down, never lets you have success you want, only success they want you to have, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, your best friend, your worst enemy. Success is not now when you're a wannabe. Success is not later when there may be no future. Success is not then when you're a has-been, a sham who couldn't keep her going. Bitch success, trumpet success, sporting her 2 C's and 3 S's. God, how I love her! But don't tell her. She'll test me with her twin sister, failure. Start me talking new love. Just as sexy as her sister, just as good looking once I get her out of the back alley into the shower with some new tricks, since America loves nothing better than failure dressed for success. If I can just keep her self-destruction under control, since when she blows, watch out, she'll leave you in the gutter, where you'll find yourself with a brief look up the dress of success as she struts down the street with her new lover, your worst enemy. And finally we get to the last things, which reminds me to bring in the my favorite tombstone epitaph. Here lies Lester Moore, 4 slugs from a 44, no less, no more. Well, okay. All right. You know, everybody should be writing their own epitaphs. The one I liked was not sick a day in his life, and now this. and also the one, pardon me if I don't get up. The poet addresses his literary legatees. They're closing down the house, tossing the copies, fireplacing the correspondence. Why not keep some, divide them, donate to book sales, put a collection in my casket in case I'm exhumed? Not so fast, don't throw out the originals. Future family poets won't know that I published in the best journals. Yikes, don't dumpster the drafts, study my creative process, replicate my workshop methods. Take a second look at those 6 odd scraps of verse. Stick them together. Savor their off-rhymes. Look at how these torn manuscripts fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. Don't you see what a great poem they could make? Oh, at last the funeral. At least I get to hear some affectionate recitation and discussion of my published works. Drat! All they do is talk about themselves, how close they were to me, how they missed me, loved my off-color jokes. Why don't they quote me, carve my lyrics on my tombstone where they're more likely to endure? Look at that cute couple burying their own poems in my grave. What were their names? I think I recall a workshop. I wonder what they wrote. Probably more about themselves, their deathless love, their own legacies, their kids. Say, these are not bad at all. I even get a mention or 2. Hope they saved a copy to publish. Anyway, it's something to read on my way back to where I can get on with my own writing. And finally we get to the to the reason, the question why we're doing all of this, and an answer to the question, what is art anyway? Madame Ernestine Schumann Heink had great breath control. She could sustain those low notes for hours. When the little girl at the Arts Club asked, "Oh, madam, how do you do it?" She explained from a certain Teutonic height, when I need it, I take it in. She sang anons asleep in the deep, and we watched her diaphragm extend 2 feet, pushing the grand piano to the edge of the stage where it teetered over her small admirer's lap. The accomplished accompanist missed not a note, playing on the angle 3 octaves higher. She took it in, and old master paintings were sucked off the wall. Frames fell while gray canvases fluttered and flapped like lost gulls in the storm. She drank it in for Mackenzie's pirate song. Shopping bags, purses, wallets from sport jackets rushed into the vacuum, swelling her booty. She gulped it in for Brunhilde's last cry, a Wagnerian breath that took 3 days to complete. Desperately, we hung on to our seats, but she ripped them off their moorings, so everybody tumbled into a heap at her regal feet. The wind wailed past our ears till she ran out of atmosphere, yet she took in even more, moving the moon and the stars, drawing the furthermost galaxies to her, joining the end of the universe. Then she let it all breeze out on a tone, rising from deeps beyond deep, colored by peach and lavender flowers, purling streams, and the silver laughter of handsome, heartless miller's daughters. We left that concert feeling lucky to be alive. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience. You've been a great set of microphones.
And I know we're a really quiet crowd here, but ladies and gentlemen, I don't think, I can't see out of that. I don't think that was loud enough. Give it up one more time for Tyler. Thank you. What a treat getting the feature first like that. And I could, normally after well, that's what I get for being so tall. Normally I do a long tirade about upcoming features, but we're going to be going into an open mic. So I'll tell you very, very, very briefly that in 2 weeks, on April Fools, on April 1st, we've got Sid Dietrich and Dallas Malice as features. Yeah, rock on. On the 15th, we've got Susan Moss, I believe. Oh, yeah, we've got a response to some people, that's awesome. And then 2 weeks later, at the end of April, I believe that's the 29th, I'd have to see it on schedule over there. We've got Paul Ryan, that's going to be the feature. Yeah, and because at the end of the month, there's a very good chance that that show is going to be running from 9 till 11 instead of 7 till 9. So we're going to have for Paul Ryan in the end of April. And if you want to know anything about it, you can always go to www.chaoticarts.org/thecafe. Or if you happen to look on Facebook ever, I have to say it that way, ever, you can see Facebook listings for event listings for it.